So, have you ever just looked around and wondered, what is all this stuff? I mean, really, what is everything actually made of? It sounds like a massive question, I know, but today we're going to crack it. Think of it like a detective story. I mean, just look around you. Our world is absolutely jam-packed with different kinds of things. You've got, say, a metal spoon, a wooden guitar, a leather ball, a glass cup, a plastic ruler. They all look, feel, and act completely differently from each other. And that brings us to the central mystery we're trying to solve today. With all these incredible differences, is there one fundamental thing that connects every single object in the universe? Let's find out. Now, every good detective needs clues. And lucky for us, our first set of clues comes from our very own senses. We're going to start sorting the world around us based on the most obvious things, how stuff looks and how it feels to the touch. Okay, first up, a super simple observation. Some materials just shine, right? Think about a metal key or a brand new spoon. It's got that sparkle. We call that luster. And then you've got other things, like a wooden pencil or a piece of paper, that are, well, dull. So there's our first way to sort things, shiny or not shiny. Next, let's use our sense of touch. Imagine trying to squish a stone in your hand. Yeah, you're not going to get very far, are you? It's hard. But what about an eraser? You can squeeze that, no problem. It's soft. See? We can also group things by how hard or soft they are. It's a pretty straightforward hands-on test. All right, let's move on to our next clue. We've used sight for shininess, touch for hardness. Now let's take a look at how different materials play with light. It's a really simple question, isn't it? But wow, the answer reveals a huge difference between all the materials out there. Does light pass right through, or does it get blocked? You know, it's just like playing a game of hide and seek. You would never hide behind a glass door, right? That'd be a terrible spot. But a big, thick brick wall? Oh yeah, perfect. The kind of material you choose to hide behind makes all the difference. And this whole hide and seek idea really shows us the three main categories. You've got your transparent materials, like that glass door, where you can see everything perfectly. Then there are translucent ones, like frosted glass, where light gets through but it's all blurry. And finally, you have opaque materials, like that brick wall, which block light completely, perfect for hiding. Okay, so we've got our visual clues and our touch clues. For our final clue, let's do a little experiment. It's so simple you could do it in your kitchen right now, and it all revolves around one of the most common things on our planet, water. So let me tell you a quick story. This is Galan. He just got home from playing outside, and he is completely wiped out and really, really thirsty. So his mom makes him a quick lemonade. She just stirs some sugar and a little pinch of salt into a glass of water, a classic way to rehydrate. He chugs it down and starts feeling better, but then he looks at the glass and notices something odd. He saw his mom put the sugar and salt in there, but now they're gone. They seem to have just vanished. Or did they? This little puzzle leads us to our next big property. So here's what happened. The sugar and salt are what we call soluble. That just means they dissolve completely in water. But if you tried to do the same thing with, say, a spoonful of sand, it would just sink to the bottom. It wouldn't disappear. That's because it's insoluble. So there's our third clue. Some things dissolve in water and some things don't. Okay, detective, let's review the evidence. We've got luster, hardness, transparency, and solubility. Now, these are all great for sorting different materials, but they don't apply to everything, do they? I mean, a cloud isn't really hard or soft. A rock definitely isn't soluble. So now it's time for the big reveal. The two properties that everything shares, which will finally solve our mystery. So the first universal property is something called mass. And all that means, really, is the amount of stuff that's packed into an object. We usually feel this as how heavy something is. A bowling ball has a lot more mass than a balloon. And here's the key. Every single object, from a tiny grain of sand to a giant star, has mass. And the second universal property is volume. It's just a fancy word for saying that everything takes up space. Think about it. Your school bag on a chair takes up space, which is why you can't sit right there. Even the air in the room you're in right now has volume. It's taking up the whole room. It's a basic rule for everything. Okay, so what happens when you put these two universal truths together?
If something has mass and it takes up space, what is it?
The answer is matter. That's it. That's the solution to our big mystery. Your phone, the water you drink, the air you breathe, you, me, it's all matter. It is the one fundamental thing that connects absolutely everything in the entire universe. And you know what's really wild? This whole mission to classify the world, to figure out what it's made of, is ancient. Thousands of years ago, the Indian system of Ayurveda had already defined 20 different properties, things like heavy/light, hot/cold, soft/hard, to describe all physical matter. It seems like humans have always been driven to make sense of the world around us.
So why is all this important? Who cares? Well, it's actually crucial. By understanding the properties of different types of matter, we can choose the right material for the right job. You know, there's a reason a cricket ball is super hard and a tennis ball is soft and bouncy. This knowledge lets us build our world with purpose.
All right, let's do a super quick recap of our investigation. We started out by sorting things based on simple properties we can see and feel. That helps us classify the world and spot patterns. But then we discovered that underneath all those differences, every single thing has two things in common. It has mass and it has volume. And that means that everything, at its very core, is matter.
Throughout this little journey, we've explored materials that have been around forever, right? Things like wood, glass, metal, stuff you can find in nature.
But that gets me thinking about one last thing. What about all the newer, man-made materials, like plastic? Plastic is amazing. It can have pretty much any property we want it to. It can be hard, soft, clear, any color. But after everything we've just learned about choosing the right material for the right job, is a material that versatile ultimately a good thing for us or not? Definitely something to think about.